Well, that was a bit of lively music. Thank you. So that was Eden Living Good. I'll let Ken make the appropriate introductions later. I'll just add that we do have a magnificent rhythm section today. So happy to have Erica along with us. All right. So let's all start by first, happy St. Patrick's Day, a little early. And I appreciate the effort that the musicians put in today. And we're all set. I have my Irish Spring here that somebody dropped off for me. I think that might be a hint, but I'm not sure. Okay. So let's just take a deep, conscious breath together and release. And allow ourselves to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call Lighting the Flames of Faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the four noble truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And as Reverend Nancy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
And as we acknowledge this perfect presence within, and as we acknowledge that it is what we are coming from and speaking from, and singing from. All aspects of our being comes from that divine presence that is within each and every one of us. So this morning, we open our hearts and minds to the idea that we are sharing the gift of that awareness, the gift of that understanding that spirit is all. That power, that presence that is able to do all things, that love and that joy that springs forth with the joy of being alive. This spiritual presence that is within each and every one of us. We are grateful to know it, to be it, to express it, and to manifest from out of that awareness. So as we spend this hour together, it is one in acknowledgement in which we open ourselves to a wider and more expanded experience of bringing it forth through us as it comes through the music that has been shared, through the word that has been given, through the energy that is shared by all of us and all of you, to know and to understand that we are about being a spiritual presence on this plane, right here and right now. In this divine moment, we express our appreciation and gratitude to know this, to be this, and to live this. So it's with love and embracing the idea that we join together in saying, and so it is. I think that this week has been another week in which I am feeling like the energy of the universe is becoming more and more a conscious awareness in more people and in more ways. And it's kind of like I'm saying it from the place of, if I'm experiencing it more, the world is experiencing it more. And that kind of is the way I feel spirit shares itself, not only with us, but with everybody around us, because to the extent that we can live from that place, there's a unity. And that unity, out of that unity, comes these qualities that we are reaching for, and the qualities that bring us joy, the qualities that bring us peace and harmony, and the qualities that nurture us and expands our ability to be in a life that is not afraid of the fear that shows up, but sees it as a tap on the shoulder to shift our awareness and shift our consciousness. And one of the things that I enjoyed this week, I had a class that was wonderful. I had a couple of book studies that I've joined that were fabulous. And I have a group that I meet with called the Wise Women Group. And it seems like everywhere I went, everybody was talking about the wonders and the beauty of spirit itself. And one of the things that it occurred to me this morning to share is that we know that spirit is always present. We know that it is the essence of our being. And sometimes it is challenging to allow it to come forth. But when we realize that this is a journey and that we are gradually growing into this awareness, and that as we grow into this awareness, which we have been doing since we've been here on this plane, that things will unfold and develop to reflect it. And it's kind of like knowing this, and Holmes describes it just as sure as when you see yourself in the mirror and you know that image is going to be exactly as you are, if we would express our awareness of that divine presence with that same type of awareness and energy, it must bring forth exactly what our consciousness is holding within it. And this is why we know things like affirmative prayer and so forth works, and setting an intention works. Because the law can only reflect back to that truth that we place in front of it. So it is with this understanding and this awareness that I accept that this service and everything that unfolds in it is going to be a divine reflection of the consciousness of that divine presence. So let's all of us sit back and enjoy God in all its many ways of expressing come to us as a gift of being. And thank you for letting me share that.
Morning, everybody. Happy early St. Patrick's Day. It would not be St. Patrick's Day without Miss Eden Living Good on the violin. And a big thank you to Mr. Jason Goldstein on keys.
Good morning.
Right, Jason. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you know, I almost forgot. Erica is in the back there playing the drum. And I really appreciate she's doing that on the jigs. Thank you, Erica. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? I will build my love a bower near yon pure crystal fountains, and on it I will pile all the flowers of the mountain. Will ye go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go? The summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will ye go, lassie, go?
Beautiful. Thank you. That was beautiful. Can't you just see yourself out there in those fields and sing? Oh no. Kind of remind me of that. And seeing the flowers and stuff. So, would you join me in saying the Declaration of Principles? We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe the universal spirit is personal too and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life, the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the giveness of life to all.
I've released and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yeah, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I'm free in the Spirit. Yeah, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yeah, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I'm free in the Spirit. Yeah, I'm only here for God. Well, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yeah, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I'm free in the Spirit. Yeah, I'm only here for God. Yeah, I'm only here for God. Yeah, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. That was great. Got me nice and teary. That song always gets me, and of course, this year. Well, today we're speaking to open to possibilities and releasing and letting go, and part of that for me this year, of course, is a happy heavenly St. Patrick's Day to my parents. And so I don't know if you can see this up, but this is the heather in that song. This is Leitrim, where my dad was born and raised as a child, and spent his honeymoon with my mom. And today, of course, we're talking about releasing and letting go, and they had to practice some of that because even after years and years of being married, of course, they had to, they could no longer find the way back to the center. And so that was the last trip that they made together to Ireland as well. So we're going to speak to that a little bit this morning. Not that whole story, but about the idea of releasing and letting go. That's a long story, and we don't need to do that today, except just to celebrate the life. This is in front. My mom's in front of the gift shop at Bunratty Castle. So sticking with the Irish theme here this morning. And this is Loch McNain in the background, and we're on our way up to Mount Thur, and the bog is below, and all along the Bloomin' Heather, if you're there at the right time of year. So, and then just to share with you, this is what the top of Mission Peak looks like. If you ever been up to the top of Mission Peak, where we do have hills in Granada, and this is looking south on Friday. It was an absolutely perfect day, and there's rarely clouds, but I wanted to share that with you today, and we'll just keep that up here for a while. I'm also working with two books today. One is Consolations by David White, and the other one is The Clear Light, a book of poems by a fellow named Stephen Taylor, who's a PhD. And when I'm up on the hill doing these things, I like to listen to World Spirituality on Unity Online Radio. It's a podcast, and so I get to listen to things and various writers, and so that's where that came from. So Almost Heaven, looking south from Mission Hill, so you're looking at Granada Hills and Northridge and Reseda. So that's what you're looking at there for the local folks. And again, our talk title today is Release and Let Go, our monthly theme, being open to possibilities. So if you remember last week, if you were here, that we said to be open to possibilities is to learn to be open to living with the question. And when it comes to our life and the trajectory that we find ourselves on, what is the highest idea that I have for my life? What is the highest idea that I have for my life? And am I currently living it? That's the question we're asking now. Am I currently living it? And if not, then why not? So what is standing in our way? So perhaps we need to capture a new idea to set us on a reboot of life that has more connection, creativity, fulfillment, and all of the energy and excitement that comes out with trying new things. So this is particularly timely given that we are slowly beginning to emerge of a year now of being at home, right? A year of thinking that this is the way life is always going to be, and now there's this promise that no, it's not going to be the way it was at first, but it's going to be different. But there's going to still be ways to reboot, right? And rather than live in the default of the last year, that this is our time now to design the life for the next year, the next 5 years, next 10 years, that has more connection, creativity, fulfillment, and all of the energy and excitement that comes with stepping into new things. So let's continue our exploration of the practice of visioning, which we were exposed to last week, as a way of exploring with the Spirit our next great yet to be. So just a quick review that there are steps to visioning. We talked about these last week. What is Spirit's highest vision for my life, my situation, my financial freedom, my marriage, my career, our new home together, etc. Whatever that is that you're wanting to have a new experience of, right? What is it that we're opening ourselves up to from the perspective of the Spirit rather than our own thinking? Next question is, what is my role? So this question actually kind of pertains more if you're visioning. Let's say you have a business or a company, or you're or even within your marriage. What is my role within this vision that I'm capturing? Right, then the next question, of course, is what must I release in order for the highest outcome of this situation to come about? So that's what we're going to be speaking to today. And what spiritual quality must I embrace for the highest outcome of this situation? Right, so one more time, we're dealing with this whole notion of self-responsibility. Once again, there's just no getting away from it, right? Excuse me. Should have had a drink of water before I got up here. So what spiritual quality must I embrace for the highest outcome of the situation? And then when we're through with all of that, what else? Okay, Spirit, anything else I need to know before we move off of this visioning meditation? So those are the steps. And the last 4 steps really support the first step, don't they? Or the really, really big question of life. What is Spirit's highest vision for my life? For me? Now we could start our day with that question, yeah? Now remember, we talked about this last week, just quick review. We're not talking about visualizing. Visualizing, that's working with the stuff that you already know. So if during your sit you come up with a to-do list, an agenda, a scheme, that's visualizing. And it's not meditation either. But that's visualizing versus visioning. Okay? Working with stuff we already know. If during your sit you come up with that, right, you're visualizing. Now, this can be that's not to say it's not helpful. On one level. It can help you pay bills on time, to not forget stuff, but to open ourselves up to the revenue side of the ledger rather than the expense side, to the inflow rather than the outflow, we want to make room for that divine download. That's what visioning is. So Holmes talks about how we must increase our receptivity, continuously extend and expand our comprehension, that we shall declare 100 times a day, there is no limit to the good which is mine. There is no limit to the good, capital G, which is mine. So that could have come from Emma Curtis Hopkins, by the way. He very well may have lifted that. So we've got a notion of what's Spirit's highest vision for our life, our situation, etc. And we've looked at our role in this situation, particularly important if we are visioning for a company or other enterprise. So then the question that we're going to work with today is, what must I release in order for the highest outcome of this situation to make itself known, to demonstrate? So Michael Beckwith says that 100% of spiritual growth is in the letting go. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith of Agape, who developed with others this visioning program, certainly made it popular. 100% of spiritual growth is in the letting go, releasing and letting go of ideas, beliefs, attachments that no longer serve to create openness and spaciousness. It removes obstacles and impediments in the way of living the vision. So remember the 13th century mystic Meister Eckhart, who said that God is not found in the soul by adding anything, but by a process of subtraction. A process of subtraction. So releasing and embracing are where our work lies when it comes to demonstrating the vision. So releasing is about making room for a greater good to be expressed or received for change to take place, for healing. So releasing is not based on what we choose to release, but on Spirit's highest ideas revealing what must be released. And this is not always convenient. Right? So Dr. Maureen used to say, and I love this expression of hers, that we all want to be transformed, but we don't want to be inconvenienced. Right? But the spiritual path doesn't often work that way. Since the all-knowing Spirit within always knows what is necessary to release, our job is to be open to Spirit and really to ask what needs to be released. And this is through the visioning process. Our work is to be still, listen to the voice within, and then follow its guidance. As Spirit fills our being with the truth, we can relax, release, and let go of all that is no longer needed. So Ernest Holmes also said that we must increase our receptivity. We must increase our receptivity. I don't know where that slide is. Continuously extend and expand our comprehension, that we shall declare 100 times a day, there is no limit to the good that is mine. Oh, that's doubled. That's why. Okay, so this is so all of this ties into also the basis for our pronouncement within our declaration of principles that we speak to also. That we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation of all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Which informs the vision of the global vision for Centers for Spiritual Living. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. So at an organizational level, this is the goal set forth by, now this is done not by some one person, but by this gigantic committee of input from ministers, practitioners, and laity who serve within the leadership for Centers for Spiritual Living, which is the organization which we belong to. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for error, injustice, or debt, is the norm. And at the same time, we understand that it takes each one of us doing our own individual healing work that gets the job done. This vision of forgiveness manifests in this world as the human race consciousness. So to the level that forgiveness is being expressed, we are demonstrating by unconscious agreement the world in which we experience. So as we do our own work, we create a world that is better. A demonstration of wholeness as an individual, demonstrating as oneness as a global community. So there's an altruistic component. So there's this component that we get a benefit, but there's also the benefit that we together gain in relation to each other. And you can expand that out from within our most basic relationships on out to the global community. Now the challenge, of course, is that forgiveness is much closer to the individual. Like it's a real thing, rather than the abstraction of forgiveness in the whole worldwide thing, right? So we're seeing that play out in our own national conversation right now. Right? The challenge for us is to forgive, to do the forgiveness work within ourselves, knowing that the other stuff will work itself out. So the poet David White, which is from the book Consolations, speaks to forgiveness in this way, that forgiveness is a heartache. Forgiveness is a heartache and difficult to achieve because strangely, it not only refuses to eliminate the original wound, but actually draws us closer to its original source. So see if that rings true for you. It not only refuses to eliminate the original wound, but actually draws us closer to its original source. So there's some pain involved, discomfort certainly. Now this line is interesting to me because it seems to point to a deeper wound which may or may not have anything to do with the object of forgiveness. Right? So I get snappy with my wife, say something nasty, which is actually tied to some incident that happened to me with a kid when I was a kid, say. So he goes on to say, David White, to approach forgiveness is to close in on the nature of the hurt itself. The only remedy being, as we approach its raw center, to reimagine our relation to it. Right? To reimagine our relation to it. Now, Reverend Nancy would put it a little bit differently. She would say we have to learn to forgive ourselves. That this is where the work is. But David White's a poet. Not that you're not poetic. All right, so when we put those two things together, forgiveness is a heartache and difficult to achieve because strangely it not only refuses to eliminate the original wound, but actually draws us closer to its original source. To approach forgiveness then is to close in on the nature of the hurt itself, the only remedy being that as we approach its raw center, to reimagine our relation to it. So now this line suggests to me that there is a visioning component even to forgiveness itself. Right? So if we can't reimagine the way things could be different, we can only stay stuck. We can only stay stuck where we are. That David White is inviting us to reimagine our relationship to the wound itself. And surely this would call on the Spirit for us to be able to get beyond the space that we have inhabited it for so long. Right? So like that resentment that childhood resentment that you've hung on to for so long, it's an old companion by this time. Right? And we might even think that we've healed it, but then we see it popping up like whack-a-mole in subtler ways in other areas that have nothing to do with it, right? I mean, I'm over 60 years old and sometimes I see stuff pop up. So the other thing that I think is interesting in this, using this quote, is that David White is an Englishman with an Irish mother. She was from County Clare, and he obviously has a deep love and respect and connection with the Irish people, and certainly with County Clare, because he grew up there, right? So he was raised in Yorkshire, I think, in England, North England, and then he would come to Ireland for the summers. Now, why I find this interesting is because there is perhaps no country with as complicated a past as that of Ireland to England. Hundreds of years of occupation, and then a war, and then after that a civil war after independence, which left a hard border between the Free Republic and the 6 northern counties still aligned with Britain, until finally, I mean, maybe 100 years later, certainly 75 or so, the Camp David Accords, which brought Sinn Féin, the Republican political arm of the IRA, which they still say was never so, but that's kind of a wink and a nod, right? But really partisans, what I'm getting at. Sinn Féin on the one side and the Ulster paramilitaries on the other side, vastly apart, vast apart, and yet somehow brought them together to where even Ian Paisley, who was a fellow who really whipped up the violence in the 70s and 80s, made a public act of contrition as part of his own release in the violence and his own call for national reconciliation. So today in that place where you saw my father, that picture of my father in the background, today in that area where my father was raised, the two checkpoints, the two local checkpoints there, hardened with sandbags and razor wire when I was there in the late 70s. That's now gone. And in those locations instead are small businesses, right? Commerce. And today cars zip by where the road once had one of those barricades where you had to check in, right? Today cars zip by without even a notion of what was once there. A demonstration of the spirit of forgiveness and of reconciliation. So the question then for all of us to ask ourselves, right, where are the hard borders within our own thinking that keep us from demonstrating our highest vision of life? Where is the razor wire, the angry voices shouting over the fence? So are we ready? Are we ready to dismantle our old ways of thinking that keep us held bound? Are we ready? Right? So who benefits most in the act of forgiveness? Is it not we ourselves? Because we are set free. Because there is freedom in the letting go. And newness of the greater yet to be. So really, one more time, we see an example of the law of circulation at work. You know, in religious science, we often talk about the law of circulation in terms of prosperity in the form of cash flow. But the law of circulation is so much more than that, right? The law of circulation is about the free flow of real love, a love that is as unconditional as we can make it within the human realm on this earth plane. And sometimes we know precisely what to do. Oftentimes we fumble around like someone in the dark looking for a match to light the candle, right? But if we stick with it, we'll see that we will find our way to the light. And in the light is freedom. And in a light that not only casts itself upon this new vision that we are casting upon the waters for that new life of excitement and abundance, right? But it also has power within it that propels us into new ways of being, but also just as important, into new ways of seeing. Right? All right, so with that, let's call the musicians forward. And I'm going to share with you this poem from the book The Clear Light, Spiritual Reflections and Meditations. And this is put forward by Eckhart Tolle. He's connected with this publisher. And the title of this this poem is If You Hurt Me, which is an interesting poem around compassion. So, just taking a deep breath while the musicians prepare, and just release. If you hurt me. If you hurt me accidentally, I won't blame you. If you bump into me on the street, tread on my toes, trip me up, I won't mind at all. I won't even be angry if you crash into my car and I end up with serious injuries. I might be upset or frustrated, but only with the random cruelty of life, not you. How can I hate you for an accident? Why should I feel any desire for revenge when you have had no bad intentions? That would be like hating the rain or cursing the sea for its coldness and lashing out at its waves as they pass. If it's not your fault, I'll forgive you and accept your apologies readily. If you're amenable, I might even hug you. Because I've been vaccinated. No. I might even be glad that you've hurt me because it's brought out your natural kindness and created a bond between us. But what if you hurt me intentionally? What if you plot and plan against me, spreading rumors, hurling insults with a heart full of jealousy and hatred? What if you rob me on the street or attack me randomly or burgle my house? Even then, I won't take it personally and respond with cold malevolence. I know that hatred isn't deep-rooted, but caused by conditions, by feelings of fear or impotence and a need for identity or certainty. The source of hatred is unhappiness, and I feel sorry. I feel sorry that you're unhappy. So I will respond with respect, because I respect the part of you that is deeper than thoughts and feelings. So I will respond with love, because I love the part of you that is purer than fear and hatred. I love the unconditioned part of you, whose nature, like mine, is love. And so it is.
I wish I was in Carrickfergus only for nights in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean only for nights in Ballygrand. But the sea is wide and I can't swim over, and neither have I the wings to fly. If I could find me a handsome boatsman to ferry me over, my love and I. So So I'll spend my days in this endless roving. Soft is the grass and shore, my bed is free. But to be home now in Carrickfergus, on the long road down to the salty sea, and in Kilkenny it is reported on the marble stone there, as black as ink, with gold and silver, I would support her. But I'll sing no more now till I get a drink. But the seas were, and I can't swim over, and neither have I the wings to fly. If I could find me a handsome boatsman to ferry me over, my love and to ferry me over, my love and to ferry me over, my love and Thank you.
Beautiful. Of course, it takes an Irishman to do that song justice, so thank you, Ken.
Yeah, you're
Nicely
very welcome.
done. Yeah. Yeah, the good one, Erica. Yes. All right. Oh, let me take this business off here. All right, so it's time for our offering. So for those of you who participate online, we have several ways to assist you. So if you get to our website, there's a donate button. It's in orange, and it takes you right there to the PayPal site, the portal. It's safe and secure. You don't have to sweat that. If you're on your phone, you can just do a couple little swipes, and it'll take you to this donate section. And then again, you can takes you to the portal. Will look like this over here, which I keep forgetting you can't see. And then if you're on the if you are on the went too far. If you're on the what do you call it? The YouTube channel, there's a little icon on the far right-hand side that'll take you to PayPal. And of course, on our Facebook page, you can see it there. There's a donate button. And by the way, Facebook doesn't take any money for nonprofits. So if that's a concern of yours, and then of course the easiest way is probably through bill pay, and of course we have a mix of bill pay and folks who use regular mail. So however they get here, we're grateful. We're going to take a moment to give you some time to participate electronically with a lively tune from Ken and the band. So going within for just a moment longer, recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here represent the myriad of ways in which we participate in the law of circulation by supporting this center. That just knowing that it is a demonstration of the consciousness of the individual that understands that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so through the generous heart of the individuals, we now, as community, both here in the room and online, we as community accept these gifts with deep love and respect as we know they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the vision and mission of this center and this online effort, but everyone who's connected to this center in any way, that we extend this knowing into our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, including our parents, that we know for our planet as well that all of it is an emanation, a joyous emanation from the very mind of the divine itself, celebrating itself as the creative impulse of the universe. And when we understand this to be so, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. This lifts our heart. We feel a sense of grace and power that propels us into spiritual living and pulls us into the life of our greatest vision for that life. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So please help me thank online in the chat there. Please help me thank Miss Eden Livingood for doing such a nice job today, and Jason Goldstein and Ken for his direction, and Erica on the lovely percussion that kept us all on time, although I think I set you off a little bit at the beginning. I couldn't stop myself. And then we had Mike on video, Evan on audio, so we couldn't do this without you. Reverend Nancy, of course, with her just being wonderful and being here and sharing her consciousness with us. And also Reverend Nicole asked me to remind you that her class starts on Tuesday, so if you've been wanting to get into class, check out the announcements. They're going to scroll, and she'll be up there. Look forward in constant contact. And also look in constant contact. If you want to do this visioning thing, join us on Wednesday at 5:30 on Zoom. Look forward in the constant contact. I forgot to do that last week. It'll be there. All right. Thank you. Reverend Nancy, pray us out, please.
So as we express our gratitude and appreciation for this wondrous time that we have spent together, it is with an open heart that we accept and know that the truths and the words and the music have all blessed us with a greater appreciation of spirit itself. And as we go forth from this experience, we go forth knowing that that willingness that is in us, the willingness to be who and what we are, is the willingness that we embrace as we become more and more willing to forgive ourselves and accept ourselves for all the beauty and the joy and the love and the wondrous expression of being that is already present. And so in that consciousness of forgiveness, that which is unlike that, these truths, falls away. And the result is a wondrous experience of love and joy and peace. With all these wondrous ideas of spirit flowing around us, through us, and as us, and coming forth as a result of our consciousness, we say thank you. So we appreciate it and embrace it together as we say, and so it is.
Please join us at home in singing the peace song. A 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. A peace that was meant to be, with God as the power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.